That's kind of a joke, but Andy was the fact witness for the United States against Al Gonzalez in those cases. Luckily, he just pled out. They never even challenged the forensics findings. The point there being, a lot of those criminals were off the street. That coupled with the surplus of records on the black market. There's only so many criminals and fraudsters. There's only so much data they can actually use to their advantage. And we saw a surplus of this stuff leak out in quantities we'd never seen, and we expected basic supply and demand would kick in and the per record values would drop considerably. And they did. And all these factors kind of added up, and we expected maybe a 20% drop, 30% at the utmost in total impacts by 2009, and then we were blown away by the total that we saw. And we looked at that and we said, wow, does this mean that there are crimes happening we don't see? Is this proof positive on paper of caseload bias? Are there crimes happening that people aren't finding out about because there's no fraud on the stolen data? Are criminals sitting on open unauthorized access waiting for market conditions to improve? And interestingly, watching that thing play out, we looked at 2010's data, and initially I was completely perplexed by 2010, and I was really concerned about the possibility of caseload bias. Now, we got together with our law enforcement partners and started to find that, generally speaking, universally anyway, around the globe, most entities, you go to datalossdb.org, go to idtheftcenter.org, go to attrition.org, any one of these websites around the globe that tracks public disclosures pertaining to data breach, and what you'll find is their data is basically the same. Visa and MasterCard see a lot of the same thing, as do our law enforcement partners. The impacts of what you have here, in my mind, is, well, what we've been dealing with since a lot of those major arrests following 08. It's not necessarily organized crime as much as it is increasingly disorganized crime. They're not real hackers in as much as they are crackers. Like I said, a lot of these things are very basic and increasingly repetitive, more commoditized crimes. And criminals are going after, at least for the last 2 years, the rabbits instead of the elephants, and they've been doing it to stay off the radar screen. So the question is this trend for over 2 years the indication that security is getting better? Is this a long-term systemic effect in that sense, or is it a short-term anomaly? Maybe something in our data. And we do, unfortunately, find an answer. And that answer might not please you guys, but about 9 days after we released this study, the largest data compromise on record was published at about 850 million records. After that, there have been 2 public disclosures with record sets above 200 million unique records in addition to that. So big crime is back on the menu. Here are the data types they are increasingly targeting. And I can tell you that our 2012 study